We know what we're in for when we sit down for a Hunger Games movie. Adapted from Suzanne Collins' trilogy for young adults, they're full of commentary via metaphor on class, politics, war, propaganda, and the inherent violence of the entertainment industry. In the post-apocalyptic Republic of Panem, children are made to fight to the death in dangerous arenas on live television, a nightmare inversion of reality TV, and game shows in which gaining the favor of a vapid, privileged audience can mean just as much as archery skills. The Hunger Games are won not with true combat, but with deceit and manipulation. Director Francis Lawrence returns to the franchise for its newest installment, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a prequel based on Collins' 2020 novel that has all the potent ingredients of the previous films and then some, making for an enjoyable yet thin adaptation that needs much more time to make its complex story truly compelling. On the eve of the 10th annual Hunger Games, Coriolanus Snow is close to graduating from his secondary school and attending a prestigious university. His class is ordered to partner with the unfortunate child tributes of this year's games in the event's first mentorship program. For Coriolanus, the situation is desperate. The mentor of this year's victor will receive a monetary prize that will allow Coriolanus to buy his grandmother and his cousin out of poverty and their once grand, now shoddy apartment.
As the mentor, Mr. Snow, your role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
This new mandate is one of many changes to these games. Viewership is down. It's implied that the ruling class of the capital no longer finds much entertainment in the televised punishment they devised for the rebellious districts of Panem. The mentors are told they must find ways to turn the games into a real spectacle, something that'll keep the people watching. There's that commentary on the entertainment industry again.
See how quickly we become predator? See how quickly civilization disappears?
Snow's mentee seems hopeless at first. Played by a vibrant Rachel Zegler, Lucy Gray Baird is a traveling singer from District 12, but Lucy Gray's talent for showmanship proves she's at least ready to make a lasting impression on the viewers at home. That, paired with Snow's sneaky self-serving streak and ability to ingratiate himself with real power players like magician/weatherman/host Lucretius Lucky Flickerman and mad scientist games designer Dr. Volumnia Gall, stack the odds in their favor. There are wrinkles, of course. Snow's school friend Sejanus Plinth is district-born but blessed with a wealthy and well-connected father who is able to purchase his son a capital education. As such, he sympathizes with the citizens trapped in the districts with the rebel insurgents who are still at large on capital territory, and Snow constantly has to keep him in check. And naturally, Snow and Lucy Gray begin to fall for each other, making it even more of an imperative for him to do anything to keep her alive.
What does my mentor do besides bring me roses?
I do my best to take care of you.
It's a good story and a good setting for a prequel. It sets up and mostly answers plenty of interesting questions. Who created the Hunger Games? What are they really for? How does a bleach blonde Tom Blyth become the villainous president played by Donald Sutherland in the previous Hunger Games films? But the density of the plot begs for either a longer movie or a two-part adaptation. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes doesn't have enough time to depict the interplay of emotions and manipulations that make up the relationship between Coriolanus and Lucy Gray. That fluctuating duality ought to be the driving force behind the action here. The audience should be asking themselves which, if any character, is truly genuine in their actions, or if everything is simply a means to an end. In Lucy Gray's opening scene, she defiantly sings a local folk song on live TV and slips a snake down the back of an enemy's dress, perhaps already aware that in order to win the games, you have to put on a show. Coriolanus is constantly shown stepping aside from or actively participating in the downfalls of those he considers friends, and yet the movie never introduces the question of who is using who until the very end, when the outcome is inevitable. It treats Coriolanus' slow yet steady descent as a heel-turn twist rather than the predetermined result of his circumstances and his personality, a shift that feels like a grand reveal instead of the tragedy that it is.
It's your name that they pulled, and you had been ripped from your home. I just want to know that somebody still cared about me.
And the film is a tragedy at its heart. This is maybe the first time that a Hunger Games movie has really driven the point home that these are children killing children. The stripped-down, empty sports hall sits in stark contrast to the flash and pomp of the terraformed environments of future arenas with no beautiful scenery or eye-catching wildlife to distract from the brutal violence. The spectacle feels real, but the rest doesn't add quite enough to put on a good show. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes sees director Francis Lawrence return to the young adult dystopia in which kids are forced to hunt and kill each other for the entertainment of a privileged ruling class. It works as a faithful adaptation of Suzanne Collins' prequel novel, yet falls flat when it comes to depicting the maze of interpersonal manipulation and emotions that make up its main character's ultimately doomed relationship. Actors Tom Blyth and Rachel Zegler are brilliant additions to the franchise with equally magnetic takes on their very different characters, but aren't given enough time to fully flesh them out. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of The Marvels and Five Nights at Freddy's, and for everything else in the sprawling world of entertainment, stick with IGN.
You hear that, boy? It's the sound of snow falling.